You're listening to Sarah Hagan Backstage, with interviews and insights from years inside the music industry. Join Sarah as she talks with masters of their crafts, finding out what makes them tick, both inside and outside of the music business.
Welcome to Sarah Hagan Backstage. My guest today, Charles Haynes, is an incredible drummer, producer, and friend. He has worked with some amazing artists, including Kanye West, Lady Gaga, Keyon Harrold, Ed Sheeran, and many, many more. I'm going to talk to Charles today about getting his start in drumming and finding out that drums were not his first instrument. We'll talk about producing, his studio work that got him through the pandemic, and what he is up to now with his new project. So come along with me as I catch up with Charles Haynes. Charles, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Oh, it's so amazing to see you.
It's great to see you also.
Absolutely. And tell us about where you are right now. You're in a very cool looking space.
Well, I'm in the studio, my studio right now. It's called the Control Room. Shortly after the pandemic hit, it was like, okay, so what now? And a friend of mine, I was looking for a space, and a friend of mine called me and said, hey, something just opened up. So take a look. I took a look, and it was terrible. Walls was red, carpet on the floor, no lights, no doors. And I was like, this is perfect. I'll take it. And everybody on my team was like, what's wrong with you? Like, what do you mean? You got a space. I'm like, we got a space, guys.
You got a space, yeah. And you had a vision, I'm sure.
I had a vision. I was like, trust me, guys, it's going to be perfect. And a little sweat, a little blood, sweat, and tears. And I think I got it in May. And I was doing a K-pop recording in June.
Wow.
Like it was, I did one post, like it's coming along. And a friend of mine sent me an email like, can you cut drums? I said, yeah. And the files started coming, and then that was it. I've been mixing records and cutting drums and like a madman since. So no complaint.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this is in Boston, right?
Yep, it's in Brighton, Mass.
Brighton.
So yep.
Very good. And so have you been able to work there through the pandemic and recording done?
I got a ton of recording done. I had some stealth moments happening during COVID. I was traveling in and out of New York.
Yeah.
On the floor of a studio in the drum room, doing a ton of sessions. I did a jingle session. They called it 40 for 40. It was 40 jingles in 2 days.
Wow.
It was charts, and I'm reading like a madman. My eyes was hurting. I had a headache. I was like, Lord, this 1 to 2 minute jingles is starting to get to me right now. But
yeah,
we was doing, 20 jingles a day. And then I want to say in New York, I recorded 2 or 3 full albums. I scored a documentary during the same time. So it was quite a bit going on for me during COVID, which I know for a lot of us, a lot of musicians and singers and everything, everyone had their hands up. But I was blessed. I lucked out on this one. We was working from May all the way up till right now still. So
that's so good to hear.
Great. Yeah.
And any of those jingles that we would recognize?
They haven't been placed yet. So
Okay.
They're still trying to place them to whatever, a couple of coffee commercials. And
yeah, you'll have to let me know, because I'm sure
I definitely will.
I'll just reach out and I'll be like, Charles, is this yours? It's stuck in my head.
I mean, it was unique because it was kind of old school as far as jingle sessions there is,
Yeah.
There was like a lot of straight ahead, and then, chart number 25 through 31 is all reggae, and then chart numbers, so on and so forth. So and then we had to do like a whole gospel section, then a whole ballad section. And it's like,
Wow.
this is more like pop rock, like old school pop rock. So I had like a line of snare drums with me, and it was crazy. It was crazy. We had a great time. Had a great time.
But
So we'll see.
It sounds like fun.
It was a whole lot of fun. You know, I personally haven't done anything like that in quite some time. You know, and the world we kind of live in now. You know, you don't really get like, hey, listen, guys. So chart number 47, second staff, third bar. Let's run that. It's like, oh my God, okay. Thank God I had my glasses that day, you know. And I was like, okay, here we go.
That's so great, though. And
it was great.
And I know, you know, kind of like getting back into reading charts and that atmosphere has to be different, but it's so great that you have that skill set and that it opens up those doors for you.
Yeah, definitely. No question about it. I mean, I can't say who, but someone called another friend of mine, asked like, hey, do you know any drummers that's like today can play today's stuff but still funky and still play jazzy, but can he read? He's like, I got the perfect person. So it's like,
yes,
no telling what this session is going to be like, because I know the guy, he can write some difficult music. So we're going to see.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
That's exciting. And like, who better too? I mean, you just described yourself and your uniqueness perfectly, because you have this, like, you know, not only can you read music, but you also have this versatile style where you can sit and do those jingles with all the different styles of music, or you can go from one gig to another. You can be, you know, playing pop music, and then you can be playing gospel music and jazz music, and it's just, you're so incredibly versatile.
Well, that was kind of my upbringing, being from East St. Louis. You know, to work back at home, you kind of had to make a decent living. You kind of had to play more than just one thing. And so I was that little young kid playing with all these, I'm not going to say very old, but older men playing blues. And they're looking at me like, all right, kid, you got to play it like this. I'm just like, okay, whatever you guys need me to do, I'll do. So coming from East St. Louis, from just the Midwest area, you know, Thursday I'm playing straight ahead at the Jazz Majestic with Steve Kirby. Friday I'm playing a wedding gig that's a private. I'm 16, 17 years old. I was not allowed in these places, and every like Thursday through Sunday I'm playing something different every day. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of carried on to my professional career so far.
That's so great. And how old were you when you started playing?
That's a rough one. I kind of, you know, been a church boy. My father, bless his heart, may he rest in peace, he got off the drums, started shouting. At 2 years old, I got on the drums trying to mimic my father. And besides them kicking me off the drums, they just let me stay. They should have kicked me off, but they just let me stay on there. And then it just kind of grew from there, you know, playing in church, trying to mimic my father, and then being exposed to other musicians. And my father had a love for funk music. So he was always playing, you know, Funkadelic, JB, the list goes on and on and on and on. And so it's not until I got to high school I discovered jazz. And it's funny, at that time, I wasn't even playing drums. I wanted to play saxophone.
Wow.
So when junior high school, I was like, yo, I want to play drums tomorrow. I want to play sax. I played sax from junior high school all the way up to high school. When I got to high school, my jazz band director, Ronald Carter, the other Ronald Carter.
Okay, I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, everybody asked. I'm like, it's the other Ron. It's the you know, he's the educator.
Yeah.
He caught me playing the drums. He came in from the hallway. He came inside. He was kind of what's the movie I'm thinking of? What's his name? It's from the movie Morgan Freeman played on the movie Lean on Me. He was rough with us. He was rough with us young kids from the hood, you know what I'm saying? But he came around that corner and was like, "Who was just playing drums?" I was just like, he was like, "Go put your horn up." That was it. You're never playing saxophone again.
Oh my gosh.
Here's a Roy Haynes, or Art Blakey, and I can't remember a Max Roach record. Learn everything off of this. And then he was like, "Here's a book. Read this book." And I taught myself really how to read music. You know, I sat in the hallway and clapped rhythms for hours because, you know, I wanted to be in the jazz band. To be in the jazz band, you got to read these charts. And we was always sight reading. We was always all of that. So, and it kind of just brought me to where we at right now. Honestly.
That's incredible. And I can picture all of that happening and kind of like understand where it fits into your style, which is really great. And how fantastic that you had that experience in high school. Like I had a very similar experience with jazz band, hadn't been exposed to jazz music. And my, concert, my band director in high school was an incredible jazz player, saxophone and clarinet. And he would say same thing, like listen to these records. And I was blown away. Like, how did I not know? And it just changed my perception of music, understanding, because it all comes from there. And it just, it's just incredible. I'm glad you had that experience.
I mean, and for me, for some reason, even junior high school, I didn't even know how possible it was until my adulthood. But even junior high school, I listen, guys, I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to live out of my suitcase. I'm going to play music. Now, I didn't know it was going to be on drums. I just know these are the things I was going to do. And I don't know, I can remember, after a while, I started seeing it. And so I moved everything out of my room. My video game was gone. I just had my dresser, my bed, and my drum set was in my room.
That's so great.
In high school, before I would go to school, I would wake up in the morning, shed for about 45 minutes, take a shower, go to school, and, skip class, practice all day. I was that kid, and and come, do jazz band after school, go home, practice some more, and play some basketball for a few hours, go to sleep, do the same thing. That was my daily routine in high school until I got to Berkeley.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
And so when you switched over to drums, did you ever play saxophone again? Were you ever tempted to? No, you never picked it back up.
It's funny. Last time I picked up a saxophone, probably 5-6 years ago, my daughter, Casey, wanted to join the concert band in her school. She wanted to play saxophone. I said, I used to play saxophone. Let me see here. Oh, it was terrible. Oh
no.
Nah. All the music that I got up here, I could not apply it at all. Nothing.
Wow. It must be harder now, though, because now you have like.
Oh, sorry, it's cracking me up.
I'm just picturing this. I'm picturing your daughter looking at you like,
She was like, "Dad, that ain't it." I was like, listen, babe, this is Eric Dolphy. I'm playing some, she was like, no, Dad, no. I'm like, Charlie Parker? They're like, no, Charlie Parker. I don't even know who that is, but that ain't him, though.
I love that. I absolutely love it. And I just, it must be harder for you now because you have all that in your head. Like you want to pick it up and play like those amazing artists. And whereas when you're a kid, you're satisfied with, whatever it is that you're reading and learning.
These whole notes I'm playing, this B flat major scale. I was like, I'm doing it, guys. Y'all hear me? Did y'all hear that scale? I'm on the come up. Nah. My chance. Mr. Carter said, "Man, go put your horn up. Don't worry about touching it ever again." That just let me know that I was probably terrible. And he really wanted to tell me that before he even heard me play drums. I think that's.
Oh. Well, we're all glad you made the transition to
Yes,
drums,
it's
however
same
it
here.
happened. That's a good
Same
thing
here.
for all of
Same
us.
here. Same here.
Yeah. I love that. So you had a vision when you were a kid of traveling the
Yeah.
world, just living out of your suitcase, and like that's the life that you wanted.
Yeah. Kind of like a nomad, I had it. I saw it, not knowing how or where, and where I'm from, they always say like, "Oh man, you made it out." I'm like, it's true. It is kind of that bad where it's like, wow, you made it out, and I just countries I've never heard of, could never imagine touching.
Hmm.
I was like, I'm going there, guys. They're like, nah, but I see you at the penny candy store when we get out of school.
Yeah.
I'm there, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, I love that story. That's so fantastic because, a lot of kids have dreams of what they want to do in the future
Yeah,
and that kind of thing. And I think that in order to pursue it and make it happen, it has to be your focus. And you
right,
talked about
right.
taking your video games out of your room, and this is what you did, and you focused on it. And sure, you skipped classes, and
Oh,
that.
I definitely did. I definitely got in trouble for that.
Right? I'm sure. And I'm sure there were people in your life that were like, you need to, focus on the academics and study
Yeah,
more and do this.
yeah.
But like,
I mean, that was my mother. I mean, even though my mother was and my father, they was completely open to my dream or what I saw. My mother always say, "Listen, you need a plan B." I was like, "I got it." She's like, "What's that?" I was like, "The same thing I'm doing right now.
yeah,
I will not fail."
yeah,
She's looking at me like, "You crazy? You
yeah.
better you better go get an education." I'm like, "Ma, I'm telling you, I'm a smart guy, but I'm telling you, I will not
Hmm.
fail at this. I see it." And maybe
Yeah.
like 10 years ago or a little bit less, my mother was like, "Well, I guess you made it. You said you saw it and you would not fail." And I never told my mother until later years, but I was homeless twice in my lifetime
Mm-hmm.
so far. It was, challenging in my car, at my friend's place, sleeping on their couch, on their floor. I slept on my friend's floor for like months. Like, okay, it'll happen. I'm not, I never looked at it as a fail.
Hmm.
I looked at it as a learning experience. Like, this is what I don't do. And next time, don't do this. You
Right.
won't end up in this situation again. So,
Right.
I just knew what I supposed to have been doing and
Yeah. You
where
had,
where,
you
where
had
I wanted to be at.
like laser focus. And I think
I
that's
was super focused. Yeah,
important, right? And
yeah,
I've
yeah,
talked
yeah.
to so many musicians, and all of the ones who are in at that doing it for a living. It was like, there is no plan B, and that makes me focus on plan A.
Right, right, right,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
I had that I won't fail mentality. Like, will I be the best of it? Or like I'll be the best of one of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's so many sides of music, period. There isn't just one, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So like I'll be there and I will
Yeah.
be recognized and I'll be loved and I will be hated. And that's cool with me also. The hate brings on the strength, everybody. Come on. And
Absolutely. And you are loved, Charles. And you're so funny because you kind of like fly below the radar in a lot of
yes.
ways. And we've talked about this before because I remember years back I was like, "Charles, you got to get an Instagram." And you were like,
It took me
"No."
forever to do that. I was like, I'm good. It's like it's so many billionaires in this world that we
Hmm.
don't know about, and they're just living their life. Not saying that sometimes being recognized from your peers and everything else is great, but I just love
Yeah.
waking up, create music, go to sleep, work
Yeah,
out, do it
exactly. And
again. That's
and
it.
that and that's the thing too, like, you are so recognized by your peers, like,
Yeah.
mentioning that we were doing this podcast today, everyone's like, "That's great, I love Charles, that's so great," everybody just loves you. So you don't even, you don't need that necessarily, but I do love that you're there and you're posting now, and I can kind of keep up with you and see what's up, because it's a great way to keep in touch.
I was posted when I was in Europe just a couple of weeks ago.
I saw it. Looked beautiful.
It was different, but it was great though. It was Europe was an experience, this, in this post-COVID world we stay in right now. It came with a lot of QR codes, a lot of applications I had to fill out just to go from France to Poland, Poland to the UK. They all have their separate rules,
right,
of what you have to do. Like in the UK, if I was staying there longer than 48 hours, I would have to have a test within that 48 hours, which I did. And everything is in the system. Everything we did was in the system, and it came with a separate QR code. Walk in a restaurant, they have to mark your QR code. Everything else. So it was different, man.
That is different.
We had a great time, but it was definitely, like, Sweden was challenging because we landed in Stockholm and we're walking through the airport. Everybody in the band, we all have our masks on. Just like, hey, does anybody else notice that no one in this airport is wearing a mask? No one.
Really?
I was like, do they have the cure here? They're not telling us like what's really going on. And we had a long layover. I think it was like a 4 hour, I think either 4 or 5 hour layover or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just sitting at the dinner table eating some food, just like, man, nobody is wearing their mask. We got on the plane. I was like, wait a minute, guys, we're on the plane now. Nobody, no mask, no nothing.
Wow.
I said, well, why Sweden? Yeah. I don't know what the numbers are in Sweden, but they was doing it.
Yeah.
It was chill, but
it is interesting how the different countries handle it all differently,
Yeah.
And in the United States, all the states handle things differently. We're not that far from each other. We're all connected, guys.
All connected. I was in San Francisco a month ago, more than a month ago, but I spent 2-3 weeks there, and I was like, okay, San Fran, like the part I was in is called the Tenderloin.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone knows the Tenderloin, they already know what this face means.
It's gonna be a lot of people Googling the Tenderloin.
Listen, let me tell you something. It was an experience.
Yes.
Walking through there, I was like, I'm walking outside. I'm like, I'm just gonna walk with my mask on outside. It's okay. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
So between there and then flying over to Europe, it's kind of like my face was tired. Honestly, it was tired of a mask.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's interesting how that happens. Like, you kind of get the mask fatigue, and then it makes you think, like, this is what I think about it. 'Cause I just spent a week at PASIC in Indianapolis, and we were all masked all the time. Which was great, and it felt good, and it was great to be back in person with everybody.
Right. Now, was everyone masked up, or
everyone was masked up?
Had to show proof of vaccination.
Proof of vaccination, exactly. Yeah. So it felt good, like it felt safe, as safe as possible. And but at the end of the week and the flights and all that stuff, and I just remember getting off the plane on Sunday and being like so anxious to take my mask off, like get outside and take off my mask. And then it made me think about all the healthcare workers. This is like their all day, every day reality. That's
all
what
day,
they do
every day.
So then I said, Sarah.
I can't imagine it. I cannot imagine it. It's just,
right.
Whew, Lord,
we all got a taste of that.
Right. I just sitting on the plane for 8 hours with my mask on. I was like, how did they do this? I'm like, you know what? They love what they do. Like, I love what I do. I'm sitting on the plane, you
do what it takes.
Doing what it takes. You do what you love, So.
There's one positive, though, on an 8-hour flight like that. And I don't know if you're like me, but I just sleep. Like, I fall asleep, and it's...
I sleep now. You already know. Back in the day, I definitely didn't sleep. Today, Oh, I'm good for an 8 hour, 10 hour
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Easy.
But the great thing about a mask is no one, if you like sleep with your mouth open or
Oh
you
yeah, yeah,
snore
definitely.
or any
No
of
question
those
about it.
things,
No question about it. No
got the
question
mask,
about it. Yeah, I mean that is a plus. I'll
right?
give you that.
We have to look for the positives here,
Oh,
right?
always, always, always. Hey, listen, this the last flight that I had to go to France. I was like, you know what? How much is a what else? I was like, how much to upgrade the ticket? They
Yeah.
gave me the price. I said, oh, that's cheap. Count
Yeah.
me in. I was like, count me in, upgrade my ticket. And I had the whole front of the plane to myself. I said, cool. I was like,
Amazing.
I don't know why nobody didn't ask. I'm like, I don't know if y'all just hooking me up with a discount price, but I'm in. So
I love it.
so
It's
I
so
still
great.
had to wear my mask though.
Still have to wear the mask, but at least you're more comfortable.
Exactly.
I love it. And so how was like touring and all of that and getting back out there?
You know, it was honestly it was different. Because it comes with a lot now. It's like, okay, every 2 weeks, got to take a COVID test, which is, these things at the beginning, I thought was like, yo, this is a hassle. Like, why we got to keep doing this, man? But, keeping everybody safe, I completely understand.
Yeah.
So, when I did San Francisco, even though we was set up in San Francisco and I was working on the film, I was doing playing with Keyon Harrold, and I was working on the film with him there at the same time. So we didn't. I had to test before I came there, and we were there for 2 weeks, and I tested after we left, and then I tested again before we went to Europe. We had like 3 days off, and then we flew further over the water. So it has its weird moments. Honestly, you're looking at a crowd of people yelling. I'm like, guys, I'm still feel like this thing is kind of out there. It's kind
Right.
of they're like, yeah. I'm like, no, close your
No,
mouth,
don't yell
man.
in my direction.
Don't look at me, but look at me, but don't look at me. It's not working out for me.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. It is. I feel like it is like that. Like it's like, okay, this is so great. And then, oh, I'm a little
Right,
nervous about that.
right,
And
right,
then,
right, right.
but it feels like it's getting there, right? Like
Yeah,
it's been
it's
such a slow process, such a hard time for
it definitely
everyone.
has.
But it
I,
does feel like something's giving, right?
I've been saying since the start. I'm like, about 4 years, we'll be back fully.
Mm,
And I mean, we're in well into year 2, on the way to
yeah.
year 3. So
Yeah.
it's on its way. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you know, realistically, guys will be back to full arena stadium tours and living their best life, and hopefully, we don't have to endure this madness no time soon. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
can't wait. I know you
Yeah,
can't wait
yeah.
either.
I'm listen. Like I said, I've been working like a madman since
Yeah.
between jingles, and I took on another trade maybe 15 years ago. I don't know. It was doing my little small ending when my small run I did with Lady Gaga. I was on the verge of missing my second-born
Mhm.
first birthday, and I was just like, man, I missed my firstborn.
Yeah.
I missed her birthday. I was in Amsterdam
Mhm.
with Kanye, and I was like, oh, at some parts I'm like, they won't remember this, but I will, and it
Yes.
just sits a little different on me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So when I was ending my spill with Gaga, I was like, you know what, man, to a certain extent, touring is great, and I will always do it, but
Mhm.
it's nothing like mailbox money. That's what I call
Mm.
it. Publishing checks. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so I just got into that arena of production and producing, and it was definitely moments I had to say no. I didn't want to, but I
Mm-hmm.
did. And then some artists I work with, like Michelle, because she does film, she does commercials off and on and XYZ. So I did a few things with her, and it just kind of pushed me along to do more. So when COVID hit, I was like, cool. I went down the rabbit hole of mixing records and everything else. So I'm like, cool. I have a Dropbox full of records, albums to mix, and a Dropbox full of drums I need to cut. So
Right.
my year is gone. I'm sitting right in the studio.
Yeah, and it let you focus on some of those things too, whereas you'd have to normally be like breaking up your time between a number of different things. So that's great.
And I almost treated it like something I've never been able to treat my lifestyle of writing and working and creating like a 9 to 5. I would walk in at 9 o'clock and take a break at 1, 2, eat a little lunch,
Mm-hmm.
do a little bit more. 5:30, I am out the door.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done. I've been here since 9 o'clock. I've been working all day. It's like, and you know me. Usually, I'm like, yo, I'm working 3 days straight, nonstop, getting it done, and then all hell breaks loose. So I was like, so now, like I said earlier, I sleep now 8-10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that. I can't remember the last time I used to sleep like that. So
it's amazing. You kind of you almost have like a 9 to 5 now.
Yeah. I wake up.
But a super cool 9 to 5.
It's the coolest 9 to 5 I can ever imagine.
Right.
So I wake up, do my thing, and here we are.
And then you get time with the family. Get to have dinners with the family and all that stuff, and make up for any moments that you felt like you weren't there for.
Any lost time, any birthdays being missed. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go back in time a little bit and talk about those days on the road, because we've known each other forever, it feels like.
Yes.
Way back. But I remember you coming in when I was at Zildjian to pick cymbals, and we would spend time together and just laugh so hard at the stories and whatever was going on at the time in your life. One of my favorite stories is the story about the costumes with Lady Gaga.
Oh my God.
And I'm wondering if you can talk about that a little bit. It's so good.
All right. So, man, that was like the beginning of the end for me. No, I'm playing. So what happened was she wanted it to be, it was the Fame tour, if I can remember. The Monster Ball Fame tour. She wanted everybody it was kind of like gothic-ish, but it was a lot. So she's like, I got an idea. Charles, you have a lightning bolt on your face. I said, a lightning who? Okay. I like, look at me and think about this lightning bolt. So the gig started and I had a lightning bolt on my face. It was a silver and black. It covered from like my head here all the way down to my neck. And I got some pictures somewhere that I would never share.
Oh no, I need to see these pictures.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. And I'll never forget the first gig with the lightning bolt on my face. Whew. They used the wrong type of makeup.
Oh no.
And just makeup just running through my eyes, man. Just ran all. I was just like, gosh, this ain't gonna work for me. And so they figured something out, and I had a lightning bolt on my face, and I was like, well, this is. I don't know if I signed up for this particular part of music. I don't know. Listen, like amazing rock bands like Kiss, and I think they was people or fans, they know the songs and they really recognizable by their face paint. But I'm like, yo, these were some of the most amazing musicians.
Yes.
walking the face of the earth. And I was like,
Mm.
the only reason that y'all don't even understand that it's the musicianship y'all are really in love with and their songwriting more than their face paint. I was like, can we just get the show down before I have to put another lightning bolt on my face?
I love it.
But that was an experience, man. I was, that was the last time I had a lightning bolt on my face. That was
There
it.
you go. I
That
mean,
did it.
yeah, maybe in the future, Halloween costume, something like that.
You know what? That ruined Halloween for me. I don't even dress up for Halloween no more. I covered Halloween for 30 years from that right there. That's it. So I got another
it's so
20
funny,
to go.
but it's and what you just said about Kiss is so significant because Lady Gaga is so incredibly talented. She's this voice and the piano playing and the composing and songwriting, brilliant. So, but
even
she was
acting now. She's
been
really got into
acting.
acting.
Oh my goodness, acting! I don't know if you ever saw the season of American Horror Story that she was on, but
amazing.
Wow.
There's a new movie that's coming out that she's in. Gucci, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I saw a commercial for that recently and I was like, ooh, I have to see that because she's in it. But it's like, she's so incredibly talented, but she was so smart about the branding part and the separating herself from everybody else. And people talk about like the meat dress that she wore, which was, like who would think of that?
He was going for it, man.
Still talk about it, right?
Well, hold on though. They're not talking about that lightning bolt though, so no. I don't know what happened.
You have to share this picture. It could have been worse though. You could have been.
This is true. I could have worn a meat dress.
You could have
a meat suit. Like nah, come on. Like, Charles, I got a perfect idea for you. I'm like, come on, Gaga. Come on, Gogs. Like, don't do it like this, man.
Oh, my. Wow.
But no, it was, that tour was a great experience for me. I had literally finished Kanye and went straight to Gogs.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a little lack in between. I was playing off and on with Michelle and Deggy cello before I started with Kanye. So it was still a friendship. So after Ye, I did a couple of weeks with Michelle. And it's funny, I was deleting emails and I ran into the email that my good friend Jeff Basker said, yo, it's on. We got SNL, blah, blah, blah with Lady Gaga. And I was like, oh. Okay, and it's like it comes with the Fame tour dates. Here you go. And it was like, okay, the rest of my year is gone. See you next year. So that was it. So we was on the move and on the hunt after that point.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you before that, when you were with Kanye, it was like at this kind of the start of his rise, right? Or like
I think I started with him on College Dropout. I believe that's what record it was. And it went into 808s and Heartbreak. 808s and Heartbreak. And I was out by the time he did Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is an amazing record. But I did 2 years. Maybe 2 years with 2 or 3 years with Kanye, easy. And it was nonstop. It was like studio. It was show, studio, show, studio, show, studio, show. Everybody like, oh, you out partying? I'm like, nah, guys. This man is laser focused. He knows exactly.
Hard work.
Yeah, he knows exactly where he wants to be at. And as much as people want to disagree with a few of his things, he's exactly where he wants to be at. So for that, I respect highly,
Absolutely. College dropout is still my favorite. It's such a great album.
He was that's where he really started developing the sound. The sound he has now, it kind of started there. And I think he's always had even the sound we hear today, he's always had this sound, this piece of art kind of flowing through his mind.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, and he's been able
absolutely.
to let it out. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's something about musicians when they maybe, it's not always the first album, but it's kind of like the beginning of their career when it's all the
Yep.
stuff that they created, not, mainly from their own mind, right?
Right.
Before
Right. Right.
before
Right.
things get in from the outside and people kind of massage sounds and things like that. I
Yep.
always go back to that original, whether it's rock bands or pop music or jazz or anything. There's something in that first bit of creativity that's so raw and original, you
Right.
know.
Right. 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 Right.
I love that.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. I mean, you hear that in almost every artist, everybody, from the first Kenny Garrett record to the Kenny Garrett record that was just released a couple of months ago. You
Mhm.
can hear the beginning of where he started to now. You can that all it all still has a relationship together, you know. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure. And sometimes, you can hear things like the amazing thing about album progression is hearing experience in the music and
yes,
not just like playing experience, but like the experience that comes with age, the experiences that come with travel. Like sometimes,
life,
you know what
life,
I mean? Like
life.
you'll hear like someone will spend a lot of time playing in India and then you'll hear Indian rhythms in their music and you're
Yep,
just
yep, yep.
feeling their musical experience. I love that.
It reminds me a long time ago. I can't even remember the guy's name. It's the drummer I was subbing for. This is terrible, but I was subbing for him for the Monk Institute, and this one, the bass player Ron Carter was
Mhm.
over was over the Monk Institute, and you know he's a quiet man, but his his mindset or his actions, which are not loud actions. They're loud though. His actions are just like, hey Charles, just make sure you play through the ride. At that time, I'm like, play through the ride? What do you mean, man? You know what I'm saying? But after listening to records and him talking about life and music,
Yeah.
I was like, I got it. And he talked about that with when he was with Miles. He said,
Mhm.
hey, we had plenty of discussions on politics and walk of life and everything. He was like, that's how we was able to express ourselves musically. So,
Mhm.
you know, any artist today, I mean, from Kanye to I don't know, Christian McBride, they've been able to they've seen walks of life, so they're able to express themselves musically. Even to Aaron Spears from 10 years, 15 years up to now,
Mhm.
he's able to express himself because he's walked through life musically in the shows and his playing and everything he does so far in his career.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
even yourself, come on, somebody, come on, come on, somebody.
It is nice to see each other progress through life and,
Yes, yeah, yeah,
gain
yeah,
experiences that change us all and be there for us, for each
yeah. No,
other.
also, it's just the that walk of life. Going through a pandemic, you really found out, like, okay, who are your true friends or your true loved ones
Yes.
or anything that even like I had what happened 2 years 3 years ago to me is super medical madness in my life, and I was in the hospital for a month, and they don't know if I
Yeah.
was gonna walk and all this other stuff, and I'm still freaking out every doctor right now because they're thinking like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, no, it's what's wrong with you. The mental will is like, it's like, we don't know if you're gonna play drums anymore. You know, I
Yeah.
maybe third week in the hospital when I finally came to, they was like, yeah, so he might walk in 18 months or longer. Music
Mhm.
definitely out of the question.
Never. Yeah. You told me that. They said you never play drums again.
Yeah, yeah. Now I went to hospital out of all times of the year, all dates, September 11th. I
Right.
was in a hospital and I walked out. By law, they had to wheelchair me out. But when I got to the door, I was like, stop. I'm not willing out of here. I'm walking out. I
Yeah.
walked out of the hospital, I think October 24th.
Wow.
Because they was like that. I was like, this is crazy. So
This doesn't happen, right?
yeah, they was like, this doesn't happen. Have full mobility, been working, everything is, my brain is still intact and no complaints at all.
It
At
is
all.
amazing. And part of me wants to say it's miraculous. The other part wants to say it's that same thing that you had as a kid where you were like, this is what I'm going to do.
Yep.
Nothing will stop me. Moving forward, let's go.
Yep, definitely. I will not lose. That's even laying in a hospital bed overnight, listening to the few other people that was in the room with me. I'm just like, one guy, I told him, like, man, I was like, I need your will to live to be stronger. I was like, cause it's spilling over here. I was like, man, I'm not this type of person. I'm not that type of person. Like, I'm good. Give me a couple of weeks. I'll be running out of here. This is when they was like, you definitely not walking, and I could not walk at all at that time. But
yeah,
I was just like, man, your will to live is not there. And I was like, please get it together, brother. I was like, we all going through, and
absolutely.
I think a few days later he thanked me for it. He was better, and his surgery went well, 100% recovery, and excuse me, he was good to go. So, but I have that. I'm not losing. I will keep pushing forward. So that's it.
Absolutely. And that's beautiful. I love that you affected his life too,
Yeah.
and that's pretty significant. And I think I saw you maybe a few months later.
Yeah, you did.
Right? Like January, February.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we had talked and I was nervous. I was nervous about how, how it was going to, how you were going to be able to function and everything. And I saw you and I was like,
nothing's wrong with this guy.
Perfect. Like, you're great.
He was lying to us. Nothing didn't happen to us.
It was just so great to see and such a relief, because I just care so much about you. And when you called and I was, you told me that and I was just like, what? Oh my gosh. So scary. But so amazing that you are where you are right now.
And during that time when I saw you, I went hiking for a few days before I saw you in California. Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna get it right.
Yeah, you were like, nope, I'm good. But it is in those moments though that you do see who has your back, who's there for you.
Yep.
And similarly, going through a big change last year in 2020 for me. And the best part about that was that realization that there was so much support. There were so many people who were who were there and encouraging, and that was incredible. You kind of realize, like, okay, this community is so strong and so
strong. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly what I was about to say. It's a strong community, and I'm happy that we are all a part of it. Honestly, because if it wasn't a strong community, 2020 would have been rough.
Yes, absolutely.
Rougher than what it was. You know what I'm saying? If we didn't have a strong community.
Yeah, I mean, it's
just looking out for each other.
Absolutely. The word that comes to mind for me often is resilient.
Exactly.
It was like this industry was nearly decimated in so many ways, and it could have been the end in a lot of ways. And I just feel like it was like this, everyone came together, figured out ways to make music, figured out ways to support each other, all of the funds that were put together, for out of work musicians and stage workers. And it was incredible to see all of the people supporting each other, all of the musicians still paying their bands. Like, wow, that was amazing. And as much of a struggle as it was, I think it all taught us how strong we are.
Yeah, it did. And it also taught us how we could stick together even more And some guys, things have been opening up. Some guys are kind of losing their way. I'm like, I had to give them a reminder, like, hey, man, remember last year this time you was twirling your thumbs.
Yeah.
And we was all out trying to reach out to each other, keep everybody employed in some type of way, or making sure there's food on the table for you and your family and some. Or in some retrospect to some guys, it's like supporting Black business and stuff like that. I'm like, don't forget.
Right.
When it's all said and done, when we kind of open it back up, you just go back to your regular ways. It's like, no, don't forget. It's we're still out here. Everyone, we're still out here trying to be a part of this creative world.
Yeah, exactly.
Spiritually, musically, everything, physically, all of that. So, like, you remember that part.
Yes.
I always say that's the last thing. It's not the last thing, but like, I don't wake up and worry about where my next dollar is coming from. I wake up with like, what's the next thing I'm going to create today? I've been very fortunate in my life. I'm not super rich, nothing crazy like that, but I've always had money. I've always been able to pay a bill. Sometimes it's late. Sometimes the lights get cut off. I don't know, but I always have money. But it's something that I'm more passionate about is being creative and making a creative mark in the world. You know what I'm saying? So for me, a dollar bill is not going to for me. I want to speak for myself. It's not going to give me that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But me tweaking the snare drum the right way. Woo! That's fulfilling for me.
It's so true. It's so true, especially in this industry, because it is all about creativity. Yeah. And if you're focused on the money, if that's your main focus, then the creativity is second or third.
Or you're going to be unhappy.
Yes, you're never going to be happy. I know. I say that often, just in talking with people about careers in this industry and life in the industry, because it is one of those things where you have to put the creativity first. You have to put the focus on the music, on serving the music, and doing what's needed regardless of the money. And of course money is important, and we all have bills to pay and all of that.
I look at it like, hip hop was built on a culture. It was built on the love of breakdancing, the love of beats, the love of break beats. And, then money got involved and a few things kind of got a little messed up. But, we're still in that creative mode, though,
Yeah.
When I got this studio, people was definitely looking at me like, so, how you going to pay for this? I'm like, I don't know. We got a space, though.
Right?
They're like,
but you know what? You knew you were going to make it work. You were going to make it happen, because that's what you do. You have to figure it out. Sometimes you figure it out as you go. Yeah, but maybe that's what it is about those first albums that attracts me so much, because there isn't anything else. It's just the creativity. The money isn't involved in the lifestyle,
And some people get caught up in their lifestyle, and then they find their way back. They get back to their thing. They get back to it. Like, it took me, me being honest, it took me a second listen to Kanye's Donda record, and I said, I get it. Like, he back on his thing now. He got his laser focus. He's always been focused. Not getting it twisted, but this particular record, I was like, he found it. He got it. He back in it. You know what I'm saying? So I think everybody just trying to be creative, and the money will always come. Like me building this place out, I was like, I don't know, but it came. It just started flowing. I ripped the carpets up. I was like, all right, I don't want to put, none of this laminate floor. We're going to do real oak, hardwood, Brazilian oak wood floors. and we found the glitch in the matrix, and here we are. You
I
know,
love that though. But like, but why did you do that? Right? Sound reasons, right? You wanted
yeah. I mean,
warmth.
yeah, the warmth also. For me, like the way I love to cut drums is I can always, a dead room,
Mm-hmm.
uh, depending on what kind of music you're recording, doesn't help all the time. So I can, with floors, it kind of soaks up that sound a little bit, but still is giving me that air that I'm looking for in the room. If I'm recording vocals, if I'm recording drums, if I want to get a nice room sound, and I want to, crunch it up with, some compression or whatever after the fact, I have that big, rock room sound or that just something crunchy to have. So, it works for me. Then I just got these built maybe like 5 months ago or something. Longer than that, maybe. And it's been great. Everything's, studio's been great. Music been great. I just did something for we call ourselves Real Lo-Fi maybe a week ago. So I'll send you some stuff you'll enjoy.
Yes, that was going to be one of my next questions.
I'm definitely going to send you some stuff.
Yeah, so we are Lo-Fi on Instagram. Yep. You can find you there.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
But tell me about that project.
So it's me and my production partner, Mitch Henry, and we've been fortunate enough to work on a lot of film, a lot of different artists together and separately. And it was just one of those moments, we were doing production stuff, getting placements here, little films there and whatever. And it's like, it was one of those moments where it was like, man, we just making everyone sounds good. Like when we're going to do something for ourselves. And so that's where it kind of started from. And we just created like a bunch of music together that I'm like, this is not for no one else but us. So we did some stuff. We call it the first installment. Everyone would think everything is EP based, but we're looking at everything as an art piece. So it's the first installment, and we have an orchestra, 22-piece orchestra. I did this during COVID, by the way.
Wow.
A 22-piece orchestra, just all type of madness, and a couple of special guests on the record with us. And hopefully by March, we've been doing video content now. That's what we did all last week. I run into my laptop to start with you because I was mixing.
Nice. Sorry to pull you away from that.
No, I had to be here. But was mixing that, and so we're doing a piece this first piece is 25 minutes long. The next piece we're doing is only like one song. Then we're doing another big one in February. I want to try something, but it's that I won't use the word fear, but I'm just kind of like, will I be a little bit too ahead of time? But I'm thinking about recording this next big installment in February, but doing it all VR, virtual reality.
Wow. Okay, so, I like this.
Yeah, so it's a lot of things that's going on in the brain right now, and it's like, how do I pull this off, but still, but make it that level that we're all used to seeing.
Make it accessible.
Make it accessible, and that level of professionalism that we always get when we were artists working with artists. Like me working with Kanye, working with Gaga, MIA, Latifah, all these other people. It's just a certain thing you see, and you're like, it has to be that and some. You know what I'm saying? Now, I talked about money earlier. Sometimes it takes money.
Yes.
But we always make our way, and that's what it is. So hopefully March, the first installment will be out, and a bunch of videos will be coming out starting in December. So
that's super cool.
We're getting ready. All
right, we're going to be looking for that.
I'm to the point where I have to start practicing because we create all of this stuff. I'm like, I don't remember this, man. How did I program this? I got to play this stuff. My God, I was practicing hardcore last week. Like, yo, we got to do this video shoot, and I don't know none of this music, and it's my music.
Yeah.
You
gotta remember all of that.
Remember this stuff, all these beats and everything else, and learn everybody else's music that I got to go out with. So,
right,
it's good times. No complaints.
That's a lot. That's great, though. I can't wait to hear some of the stuff and see the video content too. And I love that you're doing video stuff, and I'm sure you're going to be posting. And I can't wait to see.
I definitely will.
And just before we go, I want to talk a little bit about the next generation, because you've always been so supportive of those coming up, and I know that like Mike Mitchell, is one of those guys. And
I just saw Mike.
Did you? Enough.
I just saw Mike. It was where was I at? It was in New York. It was a couple of months ago. I like stopped in New York to do something. I don't know, it was a layover for me or something, but we all hung out that night. Yeah. I mean,
so great.
Everybody is finding their space, which I love, which is needed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, we can call them next generation, or we could just call them today.
Today's,
They're today. Like, it's hard to say next generation because now everything is so accessible. Like, 15 years ago, it wasn't as accessible. I couldn't just go to YouTube, boom, pull up Colin, pull up Dennis, pull up whoever. I had to go, find the bootlegs, dig, search.
The VHS tapes. Right?
Oh my God, man. And so, in today's world, which is beautiful, I think it's good and bad. You get that instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? Like, realistically, the SoundCloud world, cats can do a song and release it that night.
Right.
We all know it was not like that before.
No.
So you can call them next generation or today's generation. I mean, everyone's pushing the boundaries of music, and I think is beautiful.
I agree.
It's needed. I mean, I can imagine some people had their when Elvin really was cultivating his sound. I can imagine someone was like, "Hey, this is not Philly Joe Jones, or what are you playing? Like, it's not Papa Joe. Like, what is this? This
right.
This loose thing you're doing?" It's like, nah, man. He's creating a voice right now, and so that's what I think about every cat from Mike on that's coming out here slaying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They got a voice, man, and it needs to be heard. Period.
I agree.
Love it or hate it, you're gonna hear it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, though. You know, and and if you could give some advice, would it be to create your own voice and put it out there?
Yes, Lord. Yes, I mean, it's a lot of guys a little bit older than me. Some they have their quirky things, like everybody sounds the same and blah blah blah. Gospel chops messed it up and this and that. I'm like, listen, guys. If you don't let these guys explore and find what they need to find, then there won't be a progression. You know what I'm saying? This is what they've been shedding on. This is what they got right now. Guess what? They're going to be shedding right now, and they're going to find something else, and they're going to be able to progress from that. But if you keep sunning them or trying to make them feel like they're just playing the same old, it's not going to progress.
Right.
I mean, we didn't get Dennis because, I don't know. We didn't get Dennis. If you would have sat him down and said, "Hey, man, all this stuff you're playing, no, don't do that. All this pocket stuff, no. We got Dennis because he's like, this is what it is.
Absolutely.
I don't care what you think. I'm telling you, it was one of those things, Dave Garibaldi. It's like, oh man, He's the master of it. Like let him,
Yes. Yes,
let
he is.
him,
I met him for the first time last week at PASIC.
Beautiful. I've
And
never met. I really want to. I've never met him.
I was a little bit like starstruck and nervous.
It's so many records I've played where I'm playing all my Oakland Stroke stuff. Oh, I'm playing so much Garibaldi. Like
Yes.
I think I did an interview a couple of years ago. It's like, so this drum beat. I was like, Garibaldi. Go listen to this. Go listen to this record. I'm playing note from note almost. I'm like,
right.
It's and I think that cats like Mike Mitchell and all, they feel the same way, man. It's like if it wasn't for Dennis, if it wasn't for Garibaldi, if it wasn't for Gadd, if it wasn't for, we wouldn't have the voice we have. Period. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and the new voice is being created right now.
Oh my gosh,
being shown, and
it's been created and it's moving forward, man. It's pushing the music forward.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the most important thing, right? Always creating, always discovering, moving things into the future. Things are changing all the time, so I think it's important to embrace it.
I mean, I always tell guys like, don't be scared to fail.
Right.
Then you won't find that next thing, because if you play it safe, like I'm the king and not playing it safe. I'm like, I'm going down in flames. Here we go. I hear it. I'm going for it. My hands be like, nah, buddy.
I'm thinking about you on the saxophone, Charles, right now.
Exactly. I'm playing. I hear all Charlie Parker, and what's coming out is definitely not Charlie Parker. But that's okay though. I'm gonna keep going for it, and that's
it's okay.
For all the younger cats that's out exploring. That's what it is. Don't be afraid to fail. Find your voice. I mean, it's funny. Every now and then, cats ask like, "Hey, can I take some drum lessons?" I was like, I don't really give lessons, but we can hang out all day, all night. What I can teach you is, I think, more valuable than a couple of paradiddles. You know what I'm saying? It's life in this thing is what really will take you further in your music career. You already got it. Just practice.
Yeah.
Just practice.
Right. But the life part of it, the playing part of it is one thing. The life part of it is a whole other animal.
It's another beast. Oh. If you're not prepared for that, I have a friend of mine. He asked me a long time ago, "Hey man, why you never called me to tour anything?" And I was just like, "Man, musically, you got it. It's that life part. You're not mentally prepared for that road, and like, are you cool enough to be on a tour bus with for 4 or 5 months?
Right.
You wilding out every night, like, man, come on, man, we got it. The bus leaves at midnight. You get into the bus at 12:30. Why? Because you was out partying, whatever it may be. It's something I learned from. I don't know. Do you know Prof Lane, Professor Lane, Johnny Lane? So in the high school, we used to go to this percussion camp, Eastern Illinois percussion camp, and it was Dougal Chancellor, Lewis Nash.
Wow.
Some of the greats teaching. It's all high school kids for the most part. And Professor Lane was over the whole thing. He created the monster of it. And the speech he gave at, the intro of it all is to be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. So I try my best. Sometimes I'm just late, but I try my best to live by that. And anybody I speak to, I'm like, hey man, listen, to be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late. And just be prepared. And don't be afraid to fail. That's what I tell every younger cat than me that wants a lesson or wants to talk about music. I'm always open for it, and I will always speak my truth. That's it. Boom. There you go. For every young musician, there you go.
Yes. That's so great. That's great advice, and so important.
Yeah, very, very, very. All right.
So we have to check you out at We Are Lo-Fi and wait for some stuff to come.
It's coming.
And
it's coming.
do
Or Charlie Mike's.
Charlie Mike's.
My other Instagram. Yeah, you can find me there, and I'm always posting. And we got things coming out. I can't wait. Wait.
I can't wait either. I'll put some links in the description so that people can
Please.
follow you and see what you're up to. Check out some awesome music. And I just want to say, go for the VR thing because it sounds like
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yes.
I definitely we'll have another one-on-one conversation about it. I think you're gonna love it.
I can't wait. I'm psyched for you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Just thank you so much for your time today, Charles.
Thank you for even asking. I'm like, yes. I'm like, I'm in. Like, I've been waiting. Like, anytime I'm there, I'm ready for it.
Well, and thank you also for all the years of friendship and support.
Same here.
Absolutely.
Same here.
And I can't wait to see you in person and maybe check out the studio. Get a little studio tour.
Yes. Listen,
get into
Boston. We have to make it happen. Anytime you near Boston, just let me know.
Absolutely.
Set up. Even though I don't drink coffee no more. That's heartbreaking because I love coffee. But we can get together in the coffee house still, hang out, and take it to the studio. All right?
Absolutely. That sounds like fun.
Sounds good.
We'll do it. Thanks again. And we will talk soon.
You definitely. Thank you so much. All right.
You're welcome.
I'll
Bye.
Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. Join us each Tuesday for new episodes of Sarah Hagan Backstage.